It's not the market that'll sink your business. It's the employee inside your own organization that is poisoning the culture. And if you don't deal with it fast, they won't just leave, they'll take good people with them. Have you ever hired somebody with potential? Maybe they even produce, but behind closed doors, they cut corners, they disrespect support staff, they gossip about other agent and the company itself and the leadership, and they subtly challenge the culture that you've been building for years? It's usually not loud, it's not illegal, but it is toxic and it will spread. Having run a top performing real estate team over the last decade, we have literally seen it all, both internally at our own team and in other teams and organizations through collaborations and networking that we do on a frequent basis. In this video, I'm going to give you a few ideas on how you can identify and deal with this sort of behavior. So first, a little history on our team. So it started just over a decade ago with my wife, and initially we just wanted to have an impact in the neighborhood, sell maybe one house or one property. My background is actually commercial real estate. My wife is actually Ivy educated, more the business mind. I would be the sales and marketing guy. Now, we worked really hard, did content, and started attracting a lot of business, so we ended up hiring a buyer agent, then an assistant, which is pretty typical in the real estate business. Then we kept getting more and more business, and the idea was to continue growing our territory and asset class coverages, and now our team's about 35 people. Now, we're not your typical real estate team where you send me a lead, I just distribute it to a junior agent. Like, we are more of a Navy SEAL tactical team that is heavily involved with each other than just like a marketing or lead generation type team. Now, that said, we've taken on many agents over the years, sometimes because we're just trying to put a band-aid and we need the extra support and help. Our vision was really clear to ourselves because we literally put out thousands of videos explaining our culture. We're not greedy, we're not self-serving, we collaborate, there's no secrets here, there's no egos. But the first mistake that we made early on was we didn't have a clear onboarding process. We didn't go through the entire mission, values, what we put up with and what we don't put up with. I just assumed that everybody's a good person and they would all fit within our ecosystem. What I learned very, very quickly was not everybody had the same mindset when it came to business that we did, and not everybody should. People are entitled to find the ecosystems that work for them, and we found out, albeit painfully, that many of those people were not right for our ecosystem. How have you developed culture, and how have you found people in the organization that champion that culture every single day, even when you're not around? And what I found was it actually started with the leadership, because if the leadership's not present and they don't actually put forth a clear vision and standards, the team is just going to kind of do whatever they want to do. Now, here's an example. Our core value is do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, rather in humility, value others above yourself. The most important thing I tell every agent that I do a team deal with or is working on my client files is the client always comes first over our paycheck. I can think of one agent clearly in my mind now who is no longer with us, who was the complete opposite of this core value. And albeit I worked with this agent for years, I saw the signals, but I didn't have a system for accountability to make sure he was tracking to that core value. He would literally analyze his time to make sure every single hour was the highest dollar producing humanly possible, which to us is a massive core value misalignment, because I truly believe if you take care of the people, the profits take care of themselves. It's something we tell the public, but how can we possibly tell that to the public or be accountable to it if we have somebody at the company that doesn't believe in that core value or that mission? That misalignment actually led to many backroom conversations that I was made privy of, where this person was going around talking to other people about the brokerage, about things he was unhappy with, rather than coming to leadership. And I've said in a million town hall notes, meetings, and trainings that we've done that we just don't do that at Prime. If you have a problem, you bring it to leadership. If it can't be resolved, then maybe you just need to part ways and go work at another brokerage. And that is okay, because we're going to be better as a culture and you'll probably be a lot happier. Which leads me to studying another mentor, David Ramsey. He runs a huge organization. They definitely have a clear mission. They definitely have resources, and they definitely have standards. And he said something in the podcast with Chris Williamson that I thought was incredible. He said that the people that onboard at his organization within 2 weeks know that gossiping does not exist in his organization. So much so that if somebody comes up to them and starts backbiting or talking trash, they will say to that person, we just don't do that here. And that is the type of culture that you really need to focus on creating, because then it permeates through everybody else. But as a leader, you actually have to set those standards, make them clear as day, and make sure that there is a method for accountability to make constant adjustments. Now, taking an organization like ours that's been around for 10 years, that operates at a high level, and we are in the trenches, like we are busy, how do you recalibrate? Well, we've been doing this over 2 years. About 2 years at an all hands on deck meeting, we actually stated that we were getting close to 40 people, and we were probably gonna lose about 10 agents over the next couple years by creating a clear vision and enforcing the standards. Now here we are 2 years later, and everything has actually tracked to exactly what we said we were going to do, because we just maintained that consistency of messaging and got into a lot of conversation with our team. Now the people that get it really get it, and they're creating limitless lives for themselves within our ecosystem because they have a clear understanding of why we do what we do. What I also found is when we offboarded a lot of the people that weren't the right fit for our ecosystem, and I audited our leadership team and the other people that were in our organization, the feedback was absolutely incredible. Many of them were like, I'm surprised you didn't make that decision earlier, or they really didn't feel like they were a good fit. And I asked them this question. I said, why didn't you come to us and tell us you felt that way? And ultimately they said, well, because you guys are the leaders. We expected that you would be on it. And sure enough, we took that lesson and we're definitely keeping it in mind moving forward. So here's 5 simple solutions that you can use when you're trying to improve the culture and deal with toxic performers. 1, document everything. Keep a clean file, because facts will kill any drama that might come up when you're dealing with that tension. 2, direct confrontation. Eat the frog, sit them down, be clear, and do not sugarcoat anything. 3, set the standards super early, not just sales goals. I'm talking culture, I'm talking collaboration and communication. Set your standards. Number 4, have an exit plan. Know your line, and if it's crossed, just don't negotiate your values. They are gone. Even if they are a high producer, I promise you it will be toxic to your organization. And number 5, more than anything, protect your team. One cancerous attitude can erode years of momentum that you've created. Now, the question I have for you is, have you ever dealt with a toxic performer? Have you ever seen any of these patterns in your business? Obviously, we get a lot of real estate adjacent people that watch this channel. We also get a ton of entrepreneurs that are in different businesses. So I'd love to hear your feedback and how you've experienced dealing with toxic performers.